Hello and welcome to When I Stop Fighting, the podcast, where we talk about the fight or fights that so many of us engage in this lifetime, as well as ways to help alleviate those fights. My name is Daryl Dittmer. Let's get started. This is 10 Points in 10 Minutes by the request of Dr. Stefan Neff. So I've been sober for a bit, and I wrote a book called When I Stop Fighting, and these points are some things I've plucked out of my book that I think are important to impart, not just for sobriety, but for life. So without further ado, first thing I want to talk about is beliefs and our belief system. I think it's really crucial to look at what we believe and why we believe it, and tear it apart and break it down and ask ourselves the question, why do I believe what I believe? And probably the most important question is it working in my life? How am I experiencing my everyday? And many times how you're experiencing your everyday will boil down to what you believe. Second one is honesty. Honesty for me is not, am I telling my friends, family, neighbor the truth? It's, am I telling myself the truth? Am I being honest with me about what's going on with myself? And am I telling myself what I need to tell myself in order to affect change? We can be in denial for a long time. We can be in denial for our entire lives. And it makes sense that we have to be honest with ourselves in order to start that process of change. And sometimes a couple of the most honest things we can say to ourselves are, number one, I need help. And along with that, you know what? I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm ready to listen. Number three is responsibility. Responsibility is the most important thing I can do is take responsibility for me and for my life and for my actions with myself and with those around me. Responsibility is gigantic. I just can't imagine living a life where we end up with, contentment and fulfillment. And quite honestly, financially, with our bodies, with what we eat, with what we practice, with what we do, all boils down to the responsibility that we're willing to take for ourselves and our lives. Number four is consistency. And all of these are related. So if I use the word responsibility or I use the word beliefs or honesty along with some of these other ones, it's because they're all related. Consistency is, what am I doing every day that either takes me where I want to go or takes me away from where I want to go? Consistency it works both ways. I'm either moving in a direction that I like or that is going to benefit me and everybody that I touch in this world based on what I'm doing consistently, or it's taking me in a direction that I don't want to go, that isn't going to benefit me or those I touch in this world. So what am I consistently doing, every day, every week, every month, whatever it is? I like to develop daily practices that move me in the direction that I want to go, and do those things consistently. And right along with consistency is discipline. I believe that consistency is a manifestation of discipline that I've developed. So where do I want to go? And what am I willing to do consistently to get there? Number five is willingness. Willingness is the motor that runs me when I don't feel like it. Willingness is getting me to do the stuff that I'm scared to do. Willingness is reaching that different level of, you know what, I'm going to anyway. And that's so important. We've got to be willing, because the road is difficult. The road is not an easy road in terms of moving forward in this life and finding what we want, which ultimately for for most of us is, a contented, fulfilling life. And a lot of people don't end up with a contented, fulfilling life. So what am I willing to do differently than either what I've done in the past, or what am I willing to do differently than what everybody else does who may or may not, probably not, experiencing fulfillment? Number 6 is faith. Faith is absolutely crucial. Faith is, and it doesn't have to be the God you grew up with or God necessarily at all. I mean, there is a power, there is a source, there is something that has greater power than we do. I don't make my breath happen. I don't make my eyes see. I don't make the grass grow. I don't make planets move around each other. Something else does. And developing a way to feel like it's moving me, whatever it is, like it's moving the planets. It's allowing me to grow like the grass grows. The only thing is I just need to get out of the way. So developing faith, and it takes time. It's not something we do overnight. All of these things take time, but faith definitely takes time. And for me, it was paying attention to, wow, all the things that I screwed up, and I still get opportunities, and I still get ways to be better, and I'm still allowed to move my life forward. And recognizing that, because it happens for all of us, whether we recognize it or not. Number 7 is find a mentor. I think that's one of the most crucial steps we can take. Find somebody who's been there, find somebody who's done it. Not somebody who thinks they know, but somebody who's actually experiencing and has experienced what we're looking to experience. If I want to, develop a business, if I want to become financially free, I want to find somebody who's done it. I don't want to talk to somebody who's just read books about it. I want somebody who's done it. So if I want to build a life, where it's better for me than it has been in the past, and a life that includes some peace of mind and some fulfillment and some contentment and happiness, I want to find somebody who exhibits those things in their lives. Number 8 is blame. Blame is a no-no. Blame is poison. Blame is pointing outside myself and saying, I'm not responsible, they're responsible, or he's responsible, or she's responsible for me. And nobody else is responsible for us. There are things that happen that, you could say, hey, this person did that. But then I have the reaction that I'm in charge of. I have my response that I'm in charge of. So pointing the finger doesn't do any good. The only question to be asked is, what am I going to do as opposed to blame? I have to take responsibility for me and for how I respond. Number 9 is, we can't have a victim mentality if we're going to move forward. We can't say, well, I'm a member of this group, whatever that group is, based on, X features, whatever those might be. So I don't have the opportunities that other people have. I don't have the ability to do things that other people do. There's a difference between being a victim and having a victim mentality. There are victims in this world. People have some terrible things done to them. A victim mentality is different. A victim mentality is telling yourself that it can't be done because you're a member of some group. And it's just not true. There are members of every single group that has ever existed who have experienced a better life because they chose to, and because they chose to do the work. Number 10 is, and I say this somewhat in jest, but not completely, I say it mostly to myself, keep a cork in it. What I mean by that is not necessarily the bottle, although that'll certainly be the first step to having a life that's different. But there was a motivational speaker many, many years ago named Zig Ziglar. And if you ever heard Zig Ziglar speak, he would say that we're born with 5 holes in our head. 4 of them are to get information, and only 1 of them is designed to give out information. So give out information versus get information in that ratio. If I'm doing my math correctly, it's about 20%. I think when we're first starting in a life like this, if we've got great people to listen to, maybe we need to open our mouths about 5% and listen 95%. But that's really what I mean by keep a cork in it. It's important to pay attention to and listen to the people who have done it, the people who are experienced it, not just thinking we know what to do and not listening to the people who have already been there. I believe that's my 10 minutes. If I'm going to add another quick little number 11 here. Number 11, real quickly, is I have to commit to taking care of my body and my mind and my heart and my soul. Those are 4 aspects of me that are so important to pay attention to all of them. If I'm not doing the right things for my body, if I'm eating crummy foods and I'm not exercising, I'm not going to be happy in my heart or my soul or my mind. So it takes, and the same thing with all the other aspects of us. It takes paying attention to all of those in a responsible way to allow ourselves to grow to our fullest potential. Those are my 10 points, or 11 in 10 minutes, or 11. Thank you.